You guys, welcome back to my channel, and this is actually my second time recording this video, but this is going to be about how to have conversation with your family and friends, especially when emotions are high. You guys, like, I know like this is different for everyone, and this varies because the different personalities, the different ways that people speak and respond to how other people treat them is really different. We have some people that respond with aggression. We have some people that respond with sadness and they cry, or like their anxiety just won't let them talk. So they just end up being talked to and talked at and not responding. So like it most definitely varies because of the personalities and like the different types. So like whichever one is like for you, like, gravitate towards that more. It's going to be generally it's going to be like the same different advices I'm giving. Is just like all going to be like, I'm going to try like to separate like into different packs of what's going on. You get me? Okay, so my first tip for this is going to be enforcing boundaries. It's more like, setting boundaries, enforcing boundaries, and respecting others' boundaries. So number one is going to be boundaries altogether. So this is how I'm going to say, like, it's different. This dynamic is very different for some people. Some people don't understand not just don't understand, they don't know how to they know how to probably set boundaries, but not to enforce them. And I know setting boundaries can be hard as well. So getting to that point of where you let someone know that you're not comfortable with the way they talk to you, the way that they are, how they present themselves, like the range of voice and stuff like that. I'm like this. I like to let them, like, I would appreciate it if you don't yell at me, because if you yell at me, my brain instantly shuts down because I don't know what's gonna happen. And that's just due to my life and what I went through growing up. So it might relate to how you respond to other people. I can't respond to yelling really well, so I appreciate it if you don't yell at me. I'm setting that boundary. Now I'm forcing that boundary. If you tell someone what you don't want and they go ahead and they still disrespect you, they disrespect your boundary and they go ahead and yell at you, that enforcing that boundary, this is all on you. If you go ahead and put your foot down and be like, okay, we're not having this conversation unless you tone your voice down, or like if you decide to just let it happen, this will be a continuous cycle for you. Okay? If you let that boundary be crossed with no punishment, it will continue to happen. Okay? And this is why, like, people do what they do. You got to learn how to stop nipping it in the butt, and you don't have to be rude about it. I know people are like, I don't want to argue with no one. You don't got to be rude about it. Like I just said, like, okay, I just get one moment. If we can't respect my boundary with me yelling, there's no need to have a conversation. I mean, like, sometimes it feels like you're being rude, or you're not being rude. You're not being nice. You're not being rude. Okay. You are enforcing your boundary, which is your right. Because if they had said something vice versa and said like, oh, you choose if you're going to respect that or not. Okay. So you're not being rude to enforce it, because people feel comfortable to cross lines sometimes. And if you allow it to happen, they will continue to let it be a pattern. Okay. Just because they are your family, they are your brother, your sister, your mother, your father, your grandparents, especially. I don't know what it is, like the older generation up there, they're really disrespectful and they don't care for boundaries. Okay? You shut it down. Okay? Like, you don't got to be rude. I'm not telling you to cuss anyone out. Enforce your boundaries. Like, I don't want to have this conversation if we can't have it this way. And that is your right. That is your right. But also, in the same voice, know that that is someone else's right as well if they set boundaries with you. Just like you want to be heard out about your boundaries and what you're comfortable with. If someone tells you, I don't want to have this conversation if you're cussing at me. You have to respect that. And if you choose not to respect it, if they don't want to have that conversation with you anymore, that's their right. Plain and simple. So like I said, it varies for everyone. Like we might have people that might have trouble with just the first step, setting the boundary, letting it like speak their mind and letting them know like what you're uncomfortable with. That is something that I would tell you to practice, and not just like in your head. Say it out loud, even if you like it feels weird, but that's what you have to get used to, speaking up for yourself. Okay? You're not wrong. You're not being rude. Even if people respond in a hostile way, that's because they're not used to the challenge like that. Okay? So think about you already get a general idea of what your boundaries is and what you can like, what you don't like, and what kind of sets you off or what kind of triggers you. So you think about those things, okay? You think about how you want to articulate that before you do that. And when you have that conversation, okay, breathe. The more you stress yourself out, the more it might come out in a way that you don't want it to. If you overthink it and you think about their response instead of getting out what you need to get out, you will stress yourself out. And when you go to let someone know what's up, your anxiety or your stress may make it come out in a rude way. You feel me? Okay, so do not stress on the unknown, which is the stress of what the other person or the receiving person is going to say by that. You worry about articulating what you get out. Like, you know what you want to get out. That's what you worry about. You worry about keeping your emotions regulated, because you're not going to be able to predict everything that person does. You don't know what they're going to do in this situation. So there's no point of trying to figure it out. Okay? And, yeah. Okay? You really got this. Like, you really got this. I promise you do. Okay, so next is going to be knowing your limits. Knowing your limits and when to take a break. Okay, like I said, everyone's response in high stressful moments in serious conversations can be very different. Some people get angry, some people get really sad, some people get mute. Okay, know your limits. Know when you need to walk away and take a break. Or know when you're finna get to that point of where it's not gonna be any good for you. If I'm at the anger, I'm number one, I'm anger. Okay, I get angry regardless of the conversation, even if it's a sad conversation, even if it's a sad conversation, if it's a normal conversation, like depending on how it goes. If emotions get too high, I'll get angry regardless, just because I'm upset, sad, or whatever. That's just my response. Some people get really sad. Some people instantly cry. If you're to a point where you're going to break down and like you can't come back from the conversation, you need to take a break. You can always table a conversation. People feel like you have to have that conversation in one setting. That's really a control thing for some people, to have a conversation in one setting, but you don't have to. But if you need a break, you need to voice that you need a break from the conversation, because you can escalate it. Okay, you may have been so worried about somebody else escalating the conversation, but you could escalate the situation if you don't keep your emotions in check. I'm not saying that you can't cry, you can't get mad, you can't do this. I'm saying just pay attention to those levels. Do know when you're finna get up here, when you need to be right here for this conversation. You get me? Number 3, understanding that your feelings are valid. Yes, understand that everything you're feeling, everything you say that you're feeling is valid, and no one can tell you that you didn't feel that way or, shut that down. But in the same voice too, the other person's feelings are valid as well. Okay, you can't tell them how you made them feel. Okay, just like vice versa. Know that you're allowed to feel however you want to feel. Okay? Articulate that and let it be known. Don't let somebody try to change your mind on how you felt. Like, no, this is how I felt. This is how it is. I'm sorry. Like, I'm not sorry. I'm not gonna encourage you to do that or whatever. I want people to get to a point where you're unapologetically you. You don't apologize for stuff unless you need to. I do know that is a trait for a lot of people that went through a lot of stuff, and they were just grew up apologizing a lot. So they apologize for a lot of things they shouldn't. You shouldn't say your feelings and then apologize for your feelings. You made me feel like this. Like, I'm sorry, but you did make me feel like this. Like, what are you saying you're sorry for? It's your feelings. You just say your feelings and that's it. Not you're sorry. Everyone has emotions, okay? And everyone is going to make someone feel some type of way in their lifetime. It is up to you to listen and take accountability for what you've done. If you feel like you don't owe that person an apology for whatever they said, that's your choice. That is your choice. Everyone has a choice in life, and usually your choices have a cause and effect. So if you feel like that's the right path to go down by not apologizing for that, by all means, but do know that will cause an effect with whoever you're talking to. Your relationship may go the other direction now. It may not go straight like you wanted it to, but it may go the other direction because of the choice you made. You could apologize and have the conversation and feel like you shouldn't apologize, and it goes this way. Even if you're right and wrong, it just depends on the person. Most people, if you're not going to apologize for something, they get upset and they get mad and they're going to go left. Like I said, everyone is different. Everyone responds differently. There's no way to predict how someone's going to act, especially family and friends. All you can do is be open-minded. All you can do is know your emotions, know what you want to talk about, and set the precedent. Plan out the conversation if you know that you're going to have one beforehand. I do this with almost everyone I know. They don't know that I do this, but I plan my conversations before I have them with the majority of people. If I know I need to have a conversation with somebody, best believe it's in my notes because I lose my train of thought too as well. So if I'm mad at somebody, I'm letting them know, like, okay, this is what you did that upset me. This is why I'm upset, and if I need to apologize for a way I reacted, I do that too as well. I know I reacted this way and I shouldn't have, but I did. And you didn't deserve that. I do what I need to do with each person. If you need to do it with your family, I suggest you do. It helps you organize your thoughts. It helps you stay on track. And you already know what you want to talk about when you start talking. So I know what is hard for a lot of people is that when other people are talking, like I said, like when you're talking to somebody else and having a conversation, they are the wild card. They are the wild card. You don't know what they're going to say. You don't know what they're going to bring up. You don't know how they're going to react to whatever. So reacting off of them is where you really need to keep your emotions in check because they could bring up anything. And a lot of people do bring up old stuff as well to negate the fact that they did something to you. So it's like to, know how to separate the conversation. Like, this has nothing to do with that. This is not that conversation. If you want to have a conversation about that, we can do it a different time. But this is not the time to have that conversation. Because we're talking about this. So you're taking from this conversation. It's hard to get to this point of how you talk to people because I feel like we've all done it in such a, not an informal way, we just talk. We just talk to family. We just talk to friends. We don't ever sit here and plan and think about it in a way like this, but it's what you have to do sometimes with people. You know who you could just talk to with and you don't have to plan, but sometimes when you have to have serious conversations, it's better for you to plan and not just go into it head first, not knowing what you want to say, because off the top of your head, sometimes it might not even be what you really wanted to get out and you're all over the place. So that's why I say, like, it's better, like, organize, like, what you want to talk about with people. Even if you're not going to have a conversation with them no time soon, you may want to bring it up later in your notes. Like, I have the person's name, they have their own notes, like the conversation I need to have with people. And if I end up not having them, of course I delete it. But yeah, you guys, like, I really hope that this helps a little bit. Like I said, everyone is different. Everyone responds differently. If you're someone with high anxiety and you do take anxiety medication, I suggest you take your anxiety medication beforehand. Before you have a serious conversation, if you know that you're gonna have a serious conversation. Like I said, pay attention to your breaking points. That's when you get too mad, too sad, too anxious, or you shut down. The conversation needs to end. So setting boundaries, enforcing boundaries, and recognizing and respecting other people's boundaries. Knowing your limit, knowing when to take a break, and understanding that your feelings are valid and also the person's feelings that you're talking to is valid. Okay? Those are my tips to help with conversations, especially if they're getting really high in emotion with family members. I know I've been through it, and I got through them pretty well these past couple times. I'm not gonna lie. I didn't, even with the emotions being as high as they were with the situation that was happening, I did not yell, and they did not take me out of my body, and I, as well as I could, So you're doing great. You got this. Like I said, you know yourself best. The goal is to worry about you. Don't worry about their response. Okay? Don't make up scenarios in your head that will make you more stressed out. That is not happening. You worry about their response as the conversation happens. That's when you tune in. That's when you tap in. Okay? Even if it's something you don't want to hear or don't like to hear, listen to that person first and then respond. Okay, give them the floor if they give you the floor. Like I said, if no one respects your boundaries and stuff like that, conversation would be benched. We're not having it. That is your right. Okay, y'all can't respect me, like keep on interrupting me while I'm talking. It is over with. It's over with. I don't know, for some people, a support person may help. Sometimes it just depends, especially with family situations and friend situations. If you feel like you can't have a conversation by yourself, a support person may help, but the support person needs to only do that. Be a support person to you and not butt in your conversation. To physically be there for you, to, if you need someone to redirect you, if you feel like you're going to get too angry, like they're supposed to be there to keep you in check, like, okay, you need to bring it down here and that, but stay out of the conversation yourself. But it depends for some people, and like the receiving person might not be comfortable with the third person there because of the conversation. So it just depends. It very much depends. I really hope that this made sense for everyone. I hope I didn't talk too fast. I hope you enjoyed this, and I will see y'all guys in my next video. Also, wait a minute, I had to let y'all guys know that soon I will be announcing, guys, I'm getting my life coaching certification. I am taking my classes right now, so hopefully at some point I'm going to make a video about this. But you guys, wish me luck. I feel like I don't need it. I feel like I'm gonna be back on here. I'm certified for my life coaching classes, and so I'm a certified life coach. That's what it is. That's my affirmations. I'm a certified life coach. That's what it's gonna be. But you got this. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.